Jon Stewart, the revered and razor-sharp political satirist, returned to his daily show desk and, in an instant, dismantled the meticulously crafted persona of Prince Harry. It was a surgical dissection of the Duke of Sussex's public narrative, exposing a deep-seated hypocrisy that has, over his recent UK visit, been simmering just beneath the surface of his carefully curated life in California. Stewart's legendary wit, usually reserved for the political elite, found a new and devastating target, and in the process, revealed a prince who seems to have lost touch with reality, replaced by a caricature of his own making. The initial news of the segment was a slow burn of anticipation. Social media buzzed with whispers of an explosive encounter, a dramatic clash of titans between the world's most famous royal and one of its most potent comedic voices. But the reality was more brutal and far more effective than any fiery debate. Stewart didn't engage in a shouting match. He simply presented Prince Harry's own words and actions, and then, with a series of cutting observations, allowed the Duke's contradictions to speak for themselves. The laughter from the studio audience was not of a friendly nature. It was a mix of shock, recognition, and a growing sense of schadenfreude as the layers of the royals' public image were peeled away. The first point of contention was the Duke's recent, highly publicized trip to the UK. Billed as a heartfelt reunion with his ailing father, King Charles, the media narrative painted a picture of a prodigal son returning to mend fences. Stewart, however, presented a different, more cynical perspective. He highlighted the uncanny timing of the visit, noting that it coincided with growing scrutiny over Harry's US visa, a process that has become increasingly complicated since the admission of past drug use in his memoir, Spare. "He's not there for a hug, folks," Stewart quipped, his tone a mix of feigned sympathy and cold analysis. "He's there for a diplomatic lifeline. It's not a father-son reunion, it's a negotiation." The audience erupted as Stewart drew a direct, and deeply uncomfortable, line between Harry's alleged plea to King Charles to intervene with the US government, and the Duke's carefully cultivated image as an independent man who has left the monarchy behind. The narrative of a man seeking to escape the clutches of the firm suddenly looked less like an act of rebellion and more like a calculated PR move, one that could be conveniently reversed when his personal fortunes demanded it. Stewart then turned his attention to Prince Harry's well-documented pursuit of privacy, a central pillar of his and Meghan's brand. The satire was relentless. He contrasted the couple's demands for a private life with their seemingly endless stream of tell-all interviews, documentaries, and a best-selling memoir that exposed the most intimate details of his family's life. "He wants privacy so badly," Stewart deadpanned, "that he wrote a 400-page book about how he doesn't have it." The absurdity of the situation was laid bare, a stark and undeniable contradiction that has plagued the Sussexes for years. The more they demanded to be left alone, the more they inserted themselves into the public conversation, a paradox Stewart skillfully used to highlight the performative nature of their privacy crusade. The segment reached its climax with a biting look at Harry's self-proclaimed status as a mental health advocate. Stewart, who has a long history of championing vulnerable communities, was at his most cutting here. He presented a montage of clips where Harry, in various interviews, spoke about the importance of mental wellness and the need to seek help. He then juxtaposed these with anecdotes from Spare, where Harry recounted volatile outbursts, bitter feuds with his brother, and a general inability to communicate effectively with his family. The point was not to dismiss mental health issues, but to expose what Stewart saw as the Duke's commercialization of them. Harry, in this light, was not a humble advocate, but a man using his personal struggles as a commodity, selling a message he himself seemed to struggle to live by. This wasn't a comedic roast, it was an intellectual assault.